Good morning, everyone. Just so you're aware, I am in my car, but I am not driving, so I am stationary. So this video is going to just cover briefly a topic of people, places, and things as a means to an end. So what that means is not utilizing them as a means to your end, because all your power is within you and not outside of you. So let's take, for instance, a cup of coffee, which I have right here. And so using the example of the cup of coffee. So the first time you have a cup of coffee, the experience is amazing. It tastes great, it gives you energy. It's like, wow. So then you're like, oh, I'm going to have another one tomorrow or in a day or two. You know, I'm not feeling, maybe that'll help spark me up or give me energy. It gave me energy the other day. So now you're heading into the direction of not allowing the coffee to be what it is. You're depending upon the coffee. So now you're going into cycles, repetitive cycles, because if you're doing it every day, I'm going to have one today, and then I'm going to have one tomorrow. And then pretty soon, before you know it, the experience of the coffee is no longer the original experience of the coffee. It now becomes a dependency on your day, your life, how you act, how you respond. It's more of an addiction. So my day is complete without a cup of coffee. Don't bother me unless I have my cup of coffee in the morning. I am not performing as well because I don't have my coffee. And it becomes excuses and challenges and your outside world and how you respond and act to everything. And unless we have that cup of coffee, then we are not ourselves. We're not how we can be or who we can be. We are now, that cup of coffee is now a means to an end, so that coffee has my power. I hope that makes sense. So stepping away from that and not having a cup of coffee every day, not being dependent on a cup of coffee, will bring that newness back, that enjoyment of the coffee, and allowing the coffee to be the coffee and not your dependency upon it. And this applies to everything in life: people, places, things. You can look at it as like an attachment to an item, a dependency. It is an attachment, it is a dependency. Because unless this happens, then this doesn't happen, or I can't perform like this, or I can't be this, or I can't do this, or whatever it is that the excuses come. Because you don't have your cup of coffee. And when it applies to relationships, the newness wears off. You're with that person every day. You're dependent on them being there. And that's where people say, oh, you've taken it for granted. Because the other person is not dependent upon you. But when you make it a means to your end, that person needs to be there for me. This person needs to be, or do this, or do that. Then that person is not who they are and not allowed to be who they are, because they have to live up to your expectations and your dependency upon them. And they're not allowed to live in their full being. So learning to not take things as a means to an end is very vital in enjoying life and the people who are around you and the things that are around you. And to keep that newness going, and the joy and the happiness. So step away from the things that you feel might be a means to an end, around you. If that newness is not there anymore, it's a good indicator that that object, that person, that thing is a means to your end. And it is not in its full form, or allowed to be in its full form, for your experience. Have a good day and happy journeys. Cheers!